So we are here for the NCAA Women's College Basketball Scores for Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. So we have some big games today. We had Minnesota defeat Oregon 65-60. That was a big win for both teams. It would have been a quad one win for either team. Both teams would have gotten their second quad one win of the season, and it would have been a nice win for Minnesota. It was a nice win for them. They're 500 now in the Big Ten. Minnesota might not be the best team in the Big Ten, but they're looking to be a NCAA tournament team. I know, as a Minnesota local fan, I'm probably not going to be a team that wins the NCAA tournament. Yeah, I know that. But it would be nice to get into, at least make it to the NCAA tournament as the first 4 team this year. It would be nice, The last year, they were just out of the NCAA tournament. They were just out. Last year they were. The first year they were a WNIT team. Then they went to the WNIT, went to the final, lost in the final, won in the WBIT last season. And then when it was the first year, the 48 team, WNIT went to WBIT. So then they went to the then they went to WBIT, 32 team tournament, won that. And now this year, hopefully they can make it to the NCAA tournament. Hopefully. So that's a nice win for Minnesota over Oregon. Number 3 UCLA blows out Purdue 96-48. Not dominant, and Purdue did not even have anything going for them at all. Any point throughout the game, really. Baylor blows out UCF 73-40. BYU upsets number 18 Texas Tech. Texas Tech lost their first game to Kansas, and they lose to BYU 73-61. BYU though sometimes BYU is a slouch though. Team. Like they were the Amber Whiting. BYU was good with her after their old coach retired. He retired. And then they had Amber Whiting coming. She wasn't not bad as her at BYU, in the moment. And then she went to Big 12. Tried building her way up, and she did build BYU up. So now BYU this year is even better yet. So 15-4. So they might not be an NCAA tournament team, but they should be a WBIT team. I could see them being a WBIT team, maybe just in the bubble. Maybe a WBIT team. I don't think they'll be a WNIT team, but I would be shocked if they were a WNIT team. But a WBIT team, for being one of them, as BYU, would be actually really good for them. Number 22 West Virginia beats Arizona State in 53-43. West Virginia was actually down 3 after 3 quarters. They were. And then West Virginia won the 4th 19-6 to win 53-43. Unranked Wisconsin is 13-7 overall, 5-4 in Big 10 play, so they are not a slouch. This Wisconsin Badgers team is not a slouch this year. They are a good, solid team, and they were down only Wisconsin. Was actually at that half they were up 13, but then they were down 2 after 3 after the 22-7 run. You thought, oh man, Nebraska might have it beat, but no, Wisconsin at home, they win it 63-60. It survives over number 24 ranked Nebraska, number 25 ranked Washington. They've been unranked, ranked, and with that win, if Minnesota beat Washington, Minnesota probably would have been ranked. but they just fell flat-footed a little bit. And they were against Oregon. They had a little bit of rust, but but they were still played solid though. So you know, so St. Louis and Fordham played at Education Day Kids Stadium, and St. Louis they played tight. It was tight to both back and forth by both teams throughout this whole game. But then in the overtime, St. Louis just dominated 67-57, winning 12-2. Boston University over Lafayette 66-55. Arkansas State dominated from the start and won it 85-54, 84-55. VCU 63-60 over George Washington. VCU dominated the first half. George Washington dominated the second half, made it closer, a little closer than the final score indicates, but so VCU, nice win for VCU. George Mason goes to 8-0 in ranked 10th play with a 57-48 win over St. Bonaventure. Gained 75-58 over Duquesne. Duquesne had a good start to non-conference, not a good non-conference. 7-4, but they lose this one. Oh, good 0-8 in conference play. Rhode Island goes to 8-0 in conference play now with a nice, great win over George Mason. And they'll play on the February 14th, which unfortunately I can't see that one. Because I want to watch the Olympics instead. Of college basketball. I'm watching the Olympics. For the whole time it's live, I do instead. Because you only get to see the Winter Olympics once every 4 years. Summer Olympics once every 4 years, so. Even the Olympics once every 2 years. So I want to see that, I do want to see it, so that I would want to see that game, but unfortunately, just have to go scores updates. Unfortunately, and I would do the same for the Australian Open, but that's even a weirder time yet, and so. And usually you'd be able to see a rematch in ESPN Plus with ESPN Plus, but with the ESPN Unlimited, it's like, yeah, so it's, yeah. So a lot of them, the big matches are done by like a certain time, like midnight, maybe midnight Central. So after, yeah. So yeah, American University, if you could beat 44-41, Army 64-44, but no, Navy 672-58, 30-58 request, and also Boston University of Lafayette was an Education Day game, and so was Old Dominion Arkansas State. And then Rob Morris 55-40 over Oregon State. Central Michigan 74-53 over Akron. UNC Asheville 57-56 over South Carolina State. Indianapolis defeats Northern Kentucky 75-70. Ball State. Massachusetts could have gotten the number one team in the MAC if they would have beat Ball State. Both 6-1 then. Massachusetts falls to Ball State 70-60. So a nice win from Ball State. I guess that third quarter, the big third quarter though. The fourth they won by 8, but so that big third really helped out. The Chicago 64-60 over LaSalle. Was the 3-7 in conference play with a nice win. The bottom tier, the Paul team, or in non-conference, they were only 3-8, but still, that's a nice win to get to 9-11 overall. 3-7 Big East. Trying to get back to the WNIT this year. They won the WNIT last year. And this year, they want to get back to that. That would be a good start for them. Slowly build, try to get advanced through the WNIT, and then if they can advance through WNIT, get some confidence, move to WBIT, you can start slowly doing that, start slowly advancing there, through the WNIT, and when they advance through it enough, maybe 1 year, first year they make it there, round 1, then they win, and then they go to round 2, and then go around, lose their first game, that's round 1 or 2. They go around, if they play round 1, they win that one. Round 2, and they go to round 3. So, yeah, they move on so farther. So, yes, High Point goes 6-0 in the Big South with a 17-2 record. They were 11-2 in non-conference, which is really solid for a mid-major school. Even if you don't play, even if you just play on mid-majors, that's still really. I don't care who you play. 11-2 is a really solid record. Presbyterian gets their first Big South win with a 50-46 win over Garwood. Radford 63 over Longwood. In overtime, Lehigh 67-60 over Maryland. Purdue Fort Wayne is usually a top team in the conference, but they usually are number right behind with it's usually Green Bay, Purdue Fort Wayne, Cleveland State the last few years. But this year, Youngstown State's up in the mix as well. Cleveland State is not top 3. They're not, and they followed a 5-5 this year in conference after starting off 9 conference. They're going through 9 conference. And 1. No, 64-56 at Western Michigan. Miami, Ohio. 7-1 conference. I said Ball State would be only undefeated, or Western Michigan, or what did I say? I said Massachusetts would be number 1 conference. That would be wrong if they beat Ball State. That would be wrong. They'd be number 2 as Miami, Ohio. 7-0, 76-52 winner Buffalo. Ohio 6-1 the conference with a 82-57 winner Bowling Green. Louisiana defeats Coastal Carolina 60-66. Coastal Carolina was 7-5 in non-conference, so not terrible. I mean, a little bit of 2 games above 500, so it was decent. They get A, but Louisiana was 1-9 in non-conference. So yeah, it's a great win for them. Just to win against any team, at home or on the road, is solid for them. Kansas gets a nice win over struggling Houston team, 69-65. Iowa State bounces back. They need a big bounce back win. They struggle. They have a 5-game losing streak. Was that since they lost? They lost like 5 straight too. And then they lost 5 straight. And now they get a win. So that's a nice win. 93-60. Central Arkansas 87-66 over Jordan. And that win should give Iowa State a lot of confidence going into their sleep. Get back on track. Pretty easy. Okay. 50-60 over Jones. Denver 64-54 Kansas City. South Dakota State goes to 5-1 overall assembly with a 47 blowout win. North Dakota State 75-66 for St. Joe's. North Dakota State is receiving a vote one vote in the poll for top 25th. Big win 66. Texas State goes to 500 overall in the Sun Belt, 4-4 with a 63-40 over Appalachian State. Tarleton State goes to 4-3. This year with only 7 teams in the Western Athletic Conference. They're going to play each team 3 times in a row. You are going to play 3 teams twice at home, once on the road, and you're going to play 3 teams twice on the road, once at home. And Tarleton State wins 71-37 over Georgia. Wyoming 63-51 over Test State. Colorado State goes to 6-7-2 Mouse, 67-51 over Virginia. Wayne State 60-52 over Fresno State. UNLV goes to 81 the West after falling to San Diego State. On Saturday, they beat UNLV. UNLV beats Air Force 78-37, and San Jose State gets their first Mountain West win with a 60-57 over Nevada.